All right, hi everyone. Happy Valentine's Day. Um, it's me again. Um, Sorry about this being about a day late. Yesterday, just had a lot that I was doing, so I didn't get a chance to really film. But today, I have nothing really to do, so I'm going to film. Um, I didn't really have anything to really listen to this week. Um, that I really felt strongly about. Any albums, that is. Um, so, luckily, I saved this one. So, my review this week is actually going to be on Anti by Rihanna. That album that came out at the end of January, so a couple weeks ago now. Um, I think for me, this album it was definitely a change. Now, I'm going to preface this by going way back. I became a fan of Rihanna back in 2005 when she first released Ponde Replay and in her first album. Um, I loved her first album, Music of the Sun. I know a lot of people don't really care for that album too much, but I really loved it. I liked hearing like the dance hall stuff that she was doing, the Caribbean flavor. You could really tell she was really influenced by her roots, which she's from Barbados. So obviously, you could tell she was from influenced by the Caribbean in on that album. And I thought it worked. I liked it. I liked it a lot. Um, so then she came out with other albums. Like year after year, she came out with an album. Um, I think my favorite of hers is Good Girl Gone Bad. My second favorite is Loud, which Loud was in 2010. So when 2010 was the last time I really super enjoyed everything she did. 2011, she released Talk That Talk. I liked the album enough. I thought it was good enough. It definitely wasn't on the level of Good Girl Gone Bad or Loud, but it wasn't terrible either. Um, and then she released Unapologetic the next year in 2012, which for me felt like kind of a throwaway album. I didn't care for it. It was my least favorite of hers at that point, of the seven that she released. So for me, I wanted her to take a break. And I wanted her to come back really invigorated and coming back with um, more stuff and just fresh, just come back fresh because her last album, Unapologetic, just it just wasn't doing it for me. So she came 2013 came, she didn't release an album. So for me that was good because I was like, okay, she's taking time, she's really figuring out what she wants to do. Okay, that's great. And 2014 came, she didn't release anything. I'm like, okay, well, maybe she's really, trying to figure out what she's going to do. And then 2015 came and she released what was it, 4 or 5 seconds with Paul McCartney. And then she released American Oxygen, which I haven't even heard yet because I kind of forgot about that song. She released it as a title exclusive, and I didn't sign up for title at all, and I just forgot of its existence. And then Be Better Have My Money came out in April, I want to say, of 2015, and she didn't release the video for that until like July. So it was just like it just everything was weird, and nothing seemed to fit together. So I was sitting here listening to these songs and thinking about R8, which everybody was waiting for, R8, because nobody knew what the album was called at the time. So we were all sitting there listening to it. We're like, okay, so she has these three songs out. None of them sound the same. None of them have like similar patterns or anything. So we're all trying to figure out what she's going for with this album, because it was said that Kanye West was the executive producer, and then she was going to work with Paul McCartney and all this other stuff. And so I'm just like, what is going on with this album? And then as the year went on, she kept kind of pushing the date back, and I'm like, what is going on with this album? It's the worst album rollout for me for any artist of Rihanna's caliber. It was a terrible album rollout. Um, So I honestly thought, all right, they kept pushing back the date. Then we heard it was called Anti, and she released the album artwork, but didn't release any music or the album or anything. So everybody's like, "What is going on?" And then she had like the Samsung thing where you had to go through doors in her Anti diary or whatever, and nobody knew what was going on. But she had the Navy running around, opening doors and stuff, and getting keys and unlocking stuff, and it was just really strange how they were releasing this album. So all that keeps going, and they keep saying the album's coming out, it's coming out, it's coming out, and they kept saying that, and like December came around, they kept saying that, and everyone's like, oh, whatever, nobody, it's not coming out, and sure enough, it didn't come out, and they kept doing that, and then January, the end of January rolls around, and then she decides to release Work, the single. And then I'm sitting there like, okay, I don't believe it. I'll believe it when I hear the song. Then, like a Thursday morning, I was on my way to work and they played Work. And then I was like, okay, well, this song doesn't really do it for me, but at least we have something from her to show that she's still working on something. Oh yeah, and then she had like her producer or boyfriend or whatever, or whoever he is, was going off on Twitter about how what's his face, dude with the braids, who's her other boyfriend, Travis Scott, um, how he was delaying the album. I don't know. It was crazy. So anyway, so back on track. She released Work. I was like, not really feeling it this much, but whatever. Um, then, as I was coming home from work, it got released, and this is like 5 o'clock Mountain Time, so it got released, or not released, but leaked on Tidal for like, I don't know how long, half an hour, and then they pulled it off of Tidal, but it was long enough for people to listen to it and hear things. So I was listening to it. I was like, I don't really like this too much. Um, and then they finally released it like later on that night at like 10 o'clock, or like right before midnight on in Eastern time, probably like an hour before, and it was just awful. It was a terrible album rollout. Her first week, she ended up selling 460 copies because of how terribly the album went out. Nobody really knows how many albums she sold because she had a deal with Samsung and they bought like a million copies and stuff. So like she's technically went platinum, but nobody knows how many people actually bought stuff because 1 million people downloaded it for free, but nobody knows how, well, not nobody knows, but it's not really clear how many people have actually downloaded it. So there's just a lot of just weird stuff going on with this album and what's going on. And at the same time, like her album was getting overshadowed by like Kanye West and Beyonce and stuff. So like really, like it was just a terrible album rollout. Luckily I got it for free, and I listened to it that night. I didn't care for it too much. I was really looking forward to hearing what she had, and I appreciate the growth that I heard from her as an artist and as a woman. Um, I appreciated that. I appreciated she was going a different path. I appreciated all that. It wasn't for me. I'm not sure if it's because I'm starting to outgrow Rihanna and we're just like, I just don't see it for her music anymore. Um, but I just didn't care for it. Um, I will say I liked Kiss It better. I thought that was a cute song. I did like Consideration with SZA. Their voices sounded very good together. I thought that was a good song. Um, Another highlight was the very last song. I can't remember what it's called, but the last song in the album, not the deluxe version, but the regular version. Um, I actually kind of like that song too. Um, uh, and The other thing I'm going to say is Work. It's starting to grow on me. Um, I didn't care for it at first, but it's starting to grow on me. I think I would like it much better if Drake wasn't on the song. Um, I think he kind of takes away from the song. If she wanted to release this, I wish she would have put like a person from the Caribbean, a rapper from the Caribbean on the song, so you could really get the experience of the song as like this dance hall um, thing, and not like, she's coming with this dance hall thing. And then Drake comes on, and it's just like, and it was a very subpar like a verse from him. I didn't care for his verse, and it just kind of brought the mood down of the song. But overall, just this was mostly about the album Rollout. But again, like I listened to the album once, I didn't care for it. Um, there was like 3 or 4 songs that I enjoyed. Um, there's a Tiny Tempa sample on there that I think I'm going to listen to again, because when I first heard it, I was like, this might be something. Same old mistakes. I might listen to that again because it was kind of a standout and everybody's been talking about it. So I'm like, I should probably listen to that again, see. But for sure, I like Kiss It Better. I like Consideration. I like the last song. And I'm starting to like work more. Um, Her voice has gotten better. Um, you could hear that throughout the album, except for on Higher. Higher is awful. Um, if you like to hear people singing well on songs, I would not suggest you go and listen to Higher. Higher's singing wise, it's just like, ooh, what are you doing? I understood why she did it. I understood the concept of the song. It doesn't say the fact that the song is terrible and her voice sounds awful on it. Um, Other than that, I didn't hate it completely, but definitely it was my least favorite album of hers. Again, I appreciate the growth, I appreciate all of that. I just didn't care for it. And this is the first time that I really just haven't cared for an entire Rihanna project. First time, even an apologetic. Like, there's a few songs from there that I'm like, okay, I can get with this. I like this. I like this a lot. But on this album, it's like, even the songs that I enjoy, I don't really need to listen to them. I could go without listening to them. Um, but yeah, that's my review on Anti. Um, I still like Rihanna, so this is this is not a indication of my feelings towards her as a person, as an artist. I just didn't care for this album. I'm hoping that the next one is better. I still want to see growth, but I want to see her take a different way. I think this was good for her to do this, um, but I don't know. It just wasn't for me. It just wasn't for me. That's all I have to say about it. It just wasn't for me. So yeah, that's it. Again, sorry about it being late, a day late, but I just wanted to make sure to get this out to you. And I've been meaning to do a review on this album for a couple weeks now, so glad I saved it for today. Um, Leave a comment. Please leave a comment for suggestions and stuff on what I can do to just things that I can do, conversations, anything. And I will see you all later. I might do another review tomorrow, I'm not sure. But yeah. So until next time, bye.